I'm Amy Cherry. This local news is a service of Flagler County's Toyota dealer, Beaver Toyota, here to wow ya.
We seem to have dodged a bullet.
All evacuation and curfew orders have been lifted in Flagler County as Hurricane Dorian moves up the coast. County offices and the library reopened today, but Flagler County Emergency Management Director Jonathan Lord warns while effects were minimal.
County does have some damages, especially on our dunes, and our public works crews are assessing them and working with FDOT and Flagler Beach and Beverly Beach and Marineland to make sure those are taken care of.
And he cautions we're just now reaching the peak of hurricane season.
All those great things you did to get prepared over the last week or so, you keep those supplies, keep your plan in place in case we have another hurricane. Hopefully we won't, but just in case we do.
Flagler Beach fared the storm quite well. Police Chief Matt Downey tells us most important to his community.
The State Road A1A project is intact. There are structural engineers out right now assessing the damage. The bridge in Flagler Beach is open. There are no restrictions.
But it's not exactly business as usual. The Flagler Beach pier remains closed.
Because the structural engineer needs to come out and assess the damage that it may have received due to storm surge. The beach will not be protected with lifeguards, so you'll be swimming at your own risk. We're asking people, do not go into the Atlantic Ocean. It's unsafe at this time.
This time, Downey says Flagler County got lucky.
And I'd like to put our thoughts and prayers out to whoever's in the path of Dorian in the future, as well as keeping the people in the Bahamas in our thoughts and prayers as they were devastated as that storm hovered over them for 3 days.
Local officials echoed those sentiments, counting their blessings.
This portion of Flagler's Morning News brought to you by the Daytona Beach International Airport, Delta Airlines nonstop to Atlanta, and now nonstop service to New York City via American Airlines.
Now that the worst of Dorian has passed northward, John Arking has more.
While a curfew was in effect for just over 17 hours in zones A, B, and F in Flagler County, Sheriff Rick Staley says there were relatively few problems to deal with from a crime aspect.
We had virtually no issues during the curfew, made a few traffic stops, reminding people that we're on a curfew, and they complied and left. We made a couple of arrests, domestic violence related, and those things kind of happen, and those are unfortunate. But overall, it was great. I want to commend the men and women of the Sheriff's Office and all the first responders.
Staley says they had about 60 deputies on duty around the clock, and he thanks not only them, but their loved ones as well for their support. From the WNZF Newsroom, I'm John Erkin.
Meanwhile, Flagler Schools will be closed for one more day, Tony Magoo reports.
Flagler Schools Superintendent James Taggart has announced school will resume on Friday. This comes as school district teams continue to clean the campuses used as emergency shelters during mandatory evacuations in advance of Hurricane Dorian.
At the height of the sheltering, we had 400 of our guests in our shelters at Rimfire Elementary and Bunnell Elementary.
Damage to Flagler Schools campuses was minimal and can be repaired over the coming days. Superintendent Taggart adds,
we are currently working on a plan to make up for the days that we missed, so please no one assume what that may entail.
It should be business as usual once everything is cleaned up, right?
And I know we'll be able to hit the ground running on Friday, get back to our main focus, giving our students the best education that they can receive.
For Flagler's Morning News, I'm Tony Magoo.
And now you're up to date on Flagler's Morning News. I'm Amy Cherry.